Welcome to this deep dive into the Miami Formula One Grand Prix qualifying. We're looking at Saturday, May 3rd, 2025.
That's right. You shared some reports focusing right on those qualifying results.
Yeah, especially how Fernando Alonso and Carlos Sainz got on, and obviously who grabbed pole position.
And our mission really is to unpack all of that, pull out the key moments, the insights for you.
Exactly. And these reports, they suggest it was quite a dramatic session.
Oh, definitely. Especially coming, right after that chaotic sprint race earlier in the day.
So we'll look at who got pole, some of the surprises, and there were a few, and how the Spanish drivers, Sainz and Alonso, fared.
Sounds good. It followed the usual format, didn't it? Q1, Q2, Q3.
Yep, the standard knockout, eliminating drivers until we get the top 10 shootout for pole in Q3.
Okay, so let's dive straight into Q1 then. What were the main highlights there?
Well, Max Verstappen, not surprisingly, set a fast time pretty early on, sort of showing his intent.
Right, laying down a benchmark. But interestingly, Carlos Sainz actually topped the timesheets for a bit in Q1.
Oh, really? That's a positive sign for him, starting strong.
Yeah, looked good initially. But the big story from Q1, certainly for Spanish fans, was Alonso.
Ah, yes, Fernando getting eliminated. The reports say tight margins. What happened in Q2? Any more upsets?
Q2 definitely delivered some drama. Oscar Piastri put in a very fast lap early on.
McLaren showing their pace then.
Seemed like it, yeah. They look strong. But the biggest shock probably was Lewis Hamilton.
What happened with Lewis?
He failed to make it into Q3, finished down in 12th.
12th. Wow, that's really unexpected for him. Do the reports give any reason why?
Not specifically, no. Just that he couldn't find the pace needed on that crucial lap, I guess. A real surprise, though.
Yeah, definitely. But his teammate, George Russell.
Russell did manage to improve his time, yeah. He got through to Q3, so some relief for Mercedes there.
And what about Carlos Sainz? He navigated Q2 okay?
He did. Sainz made it through to the final shootout. Solid performance.
Good. Who else was eliminated in Q2, along with Hamilton?
Let's see. Isaac Hadjar, Gabriel Bortoledo, Jack Doohan, and Liam Lawson. So quite a few drivers falling short of that top 10.
Okay, so that set the stage for Q3. The final 10 battling for pole position. Sounds like it was pretty intense.
Oh, absolutely. Right from the off in Q3, it looked like a fight between Verstappen, the two McLarens, Norris, and Piastri. And actually, Kimi Antonelli was right up there, too.
Antonelli continuing his strong form then.
Yeah, really impressive again. The reports mentioned Verstappen felt his car was actually getting better as qualifying went on.
Finding more rotation, he said.
Exactly, which is key for getting the car turned in and carrying speed.
And the reports really talked up the battle at the end, especially between Max and the McLarens.
Yeah, adds another layer to his difficult Saturday.
Now, there were a couple of other points mentioned in the reports. Charles Leclerc had an issue before the sprint.
That's right. He had an incident on his way to the grid before the sprint race even started. So qualifying was basically his first proper running of the day.
Ah, okay. So no laps in the sprint at all.
None. And understandably, the reports mentioned he voiced some frustration over his pace during Q2. Lacking that track time would definitely be a disadvantage.
Yeah, trying to find the limit and dial in the setup with no prior running that day? Tricky.
Very. And we also saw, as mentioned briefly, a few drivers like Ollie Behrman and Alex Albon carrying penalties from sprint race incidents into qualifying or potentially for the race.
Right. And one crucial factor, the weather. It was dry for qualifying.
Yes, completely dry, which was a big contrast to the sprint race earlier, which was affected by rain.
That must have thrown another curveball for the teams.
Absolutely. Going from wet or damp conditions to a fully dry track requires significant changes to setup, tire strategy, everything. A different challenge entirely.
Okay, so let's try and pull this all together then. Max Verstappen grabs a hard-fought pole position.
Yep, really had to work for that one, with McLaren incredibly close behind, landonorris just missing out.
And for the Spanish drivers, Carlos Sainz delivers a solid 6th on the grid.
A very respectable result, putting him right in the mix.
While Fernando Alonso, unfortunately, had a real struggle. Out in Q1 after those issues stemming from the sprint race crash and the subsequent repairs.
A day to forget for Fernando, definitely.
But I think what really stands out from all these reports, looking across the whole session, is just how tight those margins were.
Absolutely captivating, wasn't it? From the gap between getting into Q2, getting into Q3, and then that tiny 0.065 seconds separating pole from second.
It just hammers home the level of competition in Formula One right now.
Yeah.
The precision needed from both car and driver is immense.
It really is. And, it raises a fascinating question for you watching the main race. With qualifying being that close, How much will those tiny grid slot differences actually matter over a full Grand Prix distance on Sunday?
That's a great point. Will that 65 thousandths translate into a significant advantage, or will strategy, race pace, and maybe even a bit of luck shuffle things around completely?
Exactly. It's definitely something to mull over as you see how the Miami Grand Prix plays out.